This is the mid-year freakout tag, take 1. So hey everybody, today I'm gonna be doing the mid-year freakout tag, just like everyone else on BookTube. So hi, my name is Talia, I love books, I love bandanas, I'm so glad you're at my channel today. It is time for the mid-year freakout tag. I'm not gonna lie, yesterday I spent a good chunk of time trying to remember if it was 2003 or 2004. I kid you not. I mean, not like an hour or anything, but enough time that I sat and thought and had to get up and look at my calendar to remember what year it was. These are signs that you're losing your mind. So yeah, not sure if I should be concerned about that or not. I may not remember what year it is, but I do remember what I have been reading this year, and I'm so excited to talk to you about it today. Let's get going. Prompt number 1, the best book you've read so far in 2023. The best book I have read so far in 2023 is Counting by Sevens by Goldberg Sloan. This book is about a girl who loses her parents, and she is a very talented, very gifted child, and after the loss of her parents, she doesn't really have anywhere to go. And when this book first started, like the first couple of chapters, I was like, this is just going to be depressing. Like, I don't know if I want to move forward with this, but it ended up being such a great uplifting book. You get to see the people around her, from her school counselor to parents of other kids that don't quite fit in. You get to see them kind of build this community around her, and she really brings out the best in the people around her, and it's just kind of this amazing story of found family, and just gave me all the good feels. Like, I just loved it. I think this will be a reread for sure, and I'm not big at rereading, so yeah, loved this book so much. Prompt number 2, the best sequel you have read so far. So I actually have read Scarlet, which is the sequel to Cinder in the Lunar Chronicles, and I actually have read Crest as well recently, and I did not pull it up to my stack apparently, but Scarlet is my sequel, and then the next one in the series I've read as well, and I actually just ordered the next one in the series because I am all in on the Lunar Chronicles, fully engaged, loving this series so much, loving the characters. I've actually ordered a couple others, another series by Marissa Meyer as well, because I feel like she can't do any wrong. I love her writing. So this was my favorite sequel of the year so far, for sure. Prompt number 3, new release you haven't read yet but want to. So I really want to read Go as a River by Shelley Reed. And I want to read this book because Joe at Book Buds was ranting and raving about it right after he read it. And he said there's some books that are a 5-star and some books that are like really a 5-star, and this is one of those books. So I definitely want to read it, and I've had it on the hold at the library since I watched that video a couple months ago, and I'm still waiting for it. Prompt number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. That is definitely the 3rd book in the Amari and the Night Brothers series. So I read both of these last year. I love this middle grade series. It's full of adventure and friendships and life lessons, and I just love it. And the 3rd one is supposed to come out, I believe, in September, so pretty soon. September or October, and I actually got an advanced ARC on NetGalley for this one last year, so I've been checking pretty regularly. I'm hoping he will put it as an ARC again, that I can get a copy, because that was really fun to get to read that one in advance. So fingers crossed, we'll see for the second half of this year. And it was really close to the release when he had the ARC last year. It was only like a month ahead, so should be soon, hopefully. So stay tuned for that. Prompt number 5 is my biggest disappointment so far this year, and that one is My Sister's Keeper. You guys, Jodi Picoult, is that how you say it? Jodi Picoult I've just seen her books around forever. I've had this book on my shelf for so long. And you just see her name over and over and over, and I just kind of assumed that she wrote great books. I knew they were sad, so no surprise there, but I just didn't like this. I didn't like the character development. I felt like she didn't make me really care about the characters at all. I feel like it just kind of meandered. Like, it was pretty long and it just kind of meandered on and on and on, and like it wasn't realistic. Like, the way this happened just never would have happened in real life, and I just was super disappointed. So I think I have another book. I have Keeping Faith by Jodi Picoult too. So yeah, I don't know. It was a major miss for me, and I don't think I will be reading that one. I think it's just gonna be pass it on to a little free library. So I was bummed about that because I had high hopes for that one. Prompt number 6 is Biggest Surprise, and that is The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Skloot. This was a pick on Dusty Book Sniffer's monthly group read, and I had never heard of Henrietta Lacks. I didn't know anything about her life at all, and now I will say that if you are going to read one nonfiction this year, like, this should definitely be one you pick up, because Henrietta Lacks, she was an African-American woman, I believe in the 50s. Yeah, in the 50s, and she had cervical cancer, and the doctors took her cells without her knowing, and after she was deceased, they used them to, they ended up being like cells that multiplied really well, and they ended up growing and growing and being used in labs all over the country and all over the world, and were the result of some of the vaccines we have, like smallpox, and were just used for cancer research, and just tons and tons and tons of medical research. And modern medicine today is as advanced as it is because of these cells, and they had been working forever to try to find cells that would multiply until they found hers. And the really sad part of this is that her family had absolutely no idea. They had no idea that her cells were taken. They had no idea that her cells were making money and being used for research and advances in science all around the world. And these people were so poor that they could not even afford health insurance. So this is just kind of the story of, number one, Henrietta Lacks and getting her story out there. And it also is really well researched about her family and their reaction to this, and just how they kind of came to terms with that this happened. So loved this book. Was just super surprised because it wasn't on my radar at all. If it wasn't for a group read, I would never have read it. So very much I recommend this one for sure. Prompt number 7 is Favorite New Author. Okay, Cy Montgomery all the way. I read How to Be a Good Creature, and I read The Hummingbird's Gift by Cy Montgomery, and I loved them so much. So these are nonfiction books, and Cy Montgomery, she studies animals. She studies animals, works with animals, and she has written stories about her time spent and relationship with these animals. And I listened to both of those books on audiobook, and she reads them herself, and she just does such a great job. Like, you can just hear in her voice like her love and passion, and like she weaves in humor, and she weaves in loss, and she like weaves in relationships, and like they're just so well done. Like, so favorite nonfiction author for sure right now is Cy Montgomery. Cannot get enough. I have recently purchased The Soul of an Octopus, which is her relationship with this octopus, because there's been a lot of studies showing that octopuses are really intelligent, and she has been part of that research, so I'm really excited to read this one as well. Prompt number 8 and prompt number 9, I'm kind of going to smush together, because prompt number 8 is newest fictional crush, and prompt number 9 is newest fictional character. So I wouldn't say I have like a crush on either of these characters, but they both are strong male characters that I absolutely love. So you've heard me talk on my channel. I've been reading the Lunar Chronicles. I think I've already talked about it in this video. And one of my favorite new fictional male characters is Captain Thorne. And I thought he was okay in Scarlet, but I really started to like him in Cress. I just love his kind of like, he's a flawed person. He's a flawed person, a flawed character. He's kind of selfish, kind of self-centered, but he's not a jerk. Like, he has a good heart, and when it comes down to like doing what's right, he'll do what's right, and he will like put the interest of other people and his friends first, even though he has like this rough exterior. Mini spoiler if you haven't read Cress. This won't spoil like the whole story, but if you don't want to hear anything about Cress, mini spoiler is going to be right here. Like when he finds the new body for Eco, I just couldn't handle it. I thought it was so sweet. I thought it was so well done. Like, he didn't have to be like in this big chaos. He didn't have to be hunting for like her new robot body, but he did, and I just thought it was amazing. I just loved that. Okay, spoilers done. My other favorite fictional character right now is Victor from Vicious. Yeah, I loved Victor. He's very different than Captain Thorne. He is very serious, very out for revenge, very like, he's not evil because he's the good guy, but he will break your neck if you get in his way. You know what I mean? Like, he is very intense, I will say. But at the same time, he like takes in this young girl and is like taking care of her, even though he needs her to get his mission accomplished. So I don't know. I really liked reading about Victor, and he's definitely a favorite of the moment. And I cannot wait to read the second book in this series because yeah, I want to read more about Victor and see where his story goes. And I actually just ordered it today, so that's wonderful. Prompt number 10 is book that made you cry. So I definitely cried during When Stars Are Scattered by Victoria Jameson and Omar Mohammed. This is a nonfiction middle grade. It is about Omar's time growing up in a refugee camp in Kenya. So he was from Somalia, at a very young age, lost his parents, had to flee to this refugee camp with his younger brother, and was basically an orphan there, and had like a kind of appointed guardian set over him. But it's kind of his story of his life growing up there. And it was just really sad, but also really well done. And this is a graphic novel, so it has like just really immersive, and yeah, loved it so much. I actually listened to it the first time on audiobook, and they had like a full cast of I wasn't sure if I was gonna like that because it's a graphic novel, but they had a full cast of characters, and I feel like it was really well done. So I haven't read like the full paper copy yet, but this story definitely made me cry at parts. There was one part just when he was talking about laying on his bed, which was like it was just like a dirt mat. You know, they have like this little hut and it's just like a dirt mat, and they don't have like, it just really puts into perspective what we had. Is like, I think I was listening to that and I was like laying, you know, or sitting next to my like a nice plush bed with all my pillows and all my stuff, and like it just puts it into perspective. And like it made me want to research more about the refugee crisis and like, how is this happening? Like, how are all these kids like in these countries just sleeping on mats? And like, yeah, definitely shed some tears here. Really recommend this book too. Super digestible, great to share with your kids if you're an adult, great to read for yourself as well. It is very eye-opening, and yeah, just colorful and bright, and a very good read. Prompt number 11 is book that made you happy. And for this one, I chose Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelley Van Pelt. And this was a library book, so I no longer have the copy of it, but it was a great read. This was a book about a woman and her relationship with an octopus, and a boy trying to find his father, and how their stories kind of intertwined and come together. And I'm not gonna say much more about it than that, but I really enjoyed it. It just gave me like warm feelings, was like a quick, easy read, had just the right amount of drama, but nothing like crazy. Yeah, that book made me happy. I liked reading it. And that was the first book I finished coming into 2023. I like finished it like on New Year's Day, I think, so it kind of was the crossover book. So yeah, really enjoyed that. Prompt number 12 is favorite book to film adaptation that you have seen this year. And I do not watch movies. I don't watch movies. I don't enjoy movies. I I think at some point when my life is a little less chaotic, I would like to watch some movie adaptations. I would like to watch The Martian. I think that would be fun. And I would like to watch Where the Crawdads Sing, because I've heard that one is really good too. At this point in life, I just want to read. Sitting still for long periods of time is like hard for me. Like, I'm getting a little antsy right now. So yeah, just sitting for a long period of time watching movies. If I do, it's gonna be with my kids. Like, I have watched a couple of Disney movies. Like, I've seen Encanto. That's it. Not a movie person, so NA for that one. Prompt number 13 is the most beautiful book you have purchased this year, and that is The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. This was a recent book of the month purchase. I very rarely actually buy the books of the month. I skip a lot of months, but I saw this cover, I loved it, and I actually added on a couple to that box as well. But I just thought this was really pretty. It has like all the books on the bookshelf, and I really liked that cover. So there you go. Prompt number 14 is, what book or books do you need to finish by the end of the year? Kind of all of them. There's like lots of books all over the place around here. But the one I really need to finish and I really need to get my booty in gear for is The Count of Monte Cristo. Because it is July and I'm only on the April chapters. So I am reading The Count of Monte Cristo with Nicole from Dusty Book Sniffers. It's part of the Serialized Book Club, and that book club is where you read chunkster books in a little bit more digestible format, which is close to the format which they were actually released in. So when Dumas wrote this book, he did not write this all and publish it and you got like this big chunk of book. It was released in little tiny fragments that you read over time. So I have this broken down to the chapters I'm supposed to read every month per this book club, but I've gotten really behind and I'm only in April and I'm supposed to be like up here now. So this is what I really need to buckle down on because I'm going to finish it this year, and this is honestly the only thing I'm really kind of freaking out about right now because I am just behind, and it's not a super quick read. Like, it's tiny writing, a lot of words, not exactly in like my typical style that I speak in. So it's just a little bit challenging. It's a great story so far. I'm loving it. And actually I have seen this movie like 10 years ago. So I do kind of know what happens. But yeah, I really need to get going on this one. So that concludes the mid-year freakout tag. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Let me know. Are you freaking out? Are you glad the year is half over? Are you sad the year is half over? I'm kind of apathetic about it. I feel good. July is good. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. I hope you take some time today to read a good book or two. And if you are having a bad hair day, just wear a bandana. Bye. Reading this with Nicole over at Dusty Book Sniffers, and this is for the, what's the word? Not segregated. Oh my gosh. What's the word? What year is it? Nobody knows. Serialized. The Serialized Book Club. So I'm reading this with Dusty. So